Welcome to the eChain A Day in the Life demo series from Chainsys. Today we'll be looking at a day in the life of a shipping user. A typical day in the life of a shipping user may include the following processes: shipment transactions, including reservation, allocation, and shipment, and also processing customer returns. We'll get started by looking at the shipment transactions and the reservation process. So here we'll navigate up to point of sales, sales, sales order. I'm going to search for a sales order here. I'll populate the warehouse information and also the customer name and run my search. Here you can see it returned a number of different sales orders. I'll pick one here and move to the sales order lines and down to the shipping information. See, as you can see, these particular lines on this sales order have been reserved status, but you can also select direct, allocation, reservation, and allocation, and also inventory reservation, which is actually going to be done by the system if that's chosen. So let me move back to the order. Pick up the order number real quick and copy it. We'll go over to the inventory tab and shipment transactions and navigate to the item reservation screens. Here I can again enter my warehouse information and then also the customer and run a quick search. I'll click over on the reservation information tab and select the lines on this sales order, and as you can see, there's a quantity to be reserved and a reserved quantity pre-populated here. I'm going to go ahead and change the to be reserved quantity. The reason I would do this is just if I wanted to, leave a couple out there. Maybe the customer doesn't necessarily want all of them to be delivered at the same time. So we'll just go ahead and reserve the ones that we need at this point. And I'll click on reserve. Looks like I have to pick up a sub-inventory source. So we'll be taking it out of finished goods. So now we'll navigate back up to the inventory tab and run an inquiry on the quantity on hand. We'll just pick up the item name there, make sure we're searching for the proper item. And as you can see, of course, we've got our on-hand amount, reserved amount, etc. So you can see that reserved amount reflected from the reservation that I just processed. Now I can also do an item unreservation through the system. I can show you that if for some reason the order was canceled at this point, or for any other problem. Maybe a mistake was made. So we'll go back to those line items that we just reserved. Make sure it's the proper item names. So I'll go ahead and select the appropriate item. And then I can enter the number that I want to unreserve for that customer. Go down to click on reserve. And the change has been processed. As you can see, we get a transaction successful notification at the bottom of the screen. We go ahead and copy that item name, and then we'll do another inquiry in quantity on hand. And I can show you where that unreservation has been reflected back in the inventory. Quantity on hand. See, as you can see, now we've only got one reserved, whereas previously we had two of these items. Let me go down to the item allocation screens. I'll show you how to pass an item allocation in the system. We'll just populate the warehouse and, of course, the customer once again. And we'll scroll down to the items that we want on this order. And then we can just enter a number to be allocated, click on allocate, populate those sub-inventory categories there, and process the allocation. Now let me just copy the item name here. As you can see, the quantity to be allocated was 4. Let's copy that item name again. And then we'll just run an inquiry, and I'll show you where the allocation has been made in the quantity on hand records. So this is something that you can easily check to make sure that that's been processed. And there it is. On hand, allocation, reservation. Okay, now let me just show you how to reverse that transaction that we just made for an allocation. We'll go ahead and pick up the warehouse. We'll enter in the customer. We'll search for that order number real quick. Click over on the unallocation info. And we can change our to be allocated numbers. We'll go ahead and reduce that top to 1. Second one as well. Click on unallocate to process it. And as you can see at the bottom, the transaction has been successfully processed. And we'll go ahead and just make sure we run a quick inquiry. Double check that that reflection has been made in the quantity on hand. Pull up that item name, select. Okay. As you can see, the allocation and reservation quantities, are reflecting the appropriate amounts per the change that we just made. So a really easy, quick process if you needed to unallocate an item that's already been allocated. So let's go down to the quick shipping screen here. Run the item shipping search. Warehouse changes. Let me search that order number in the drop down. Then you can see here we've got the shipping method available in the drop down window. What we're going to do is the allocation. I'll go ahead and select all. I can show you the quantity that's ready to be shipped there. Whether or not we want to create an invoice for this transaction automatically. We'll leave it as yes. Then I need to go ahead and pick up a shipment date appropriate to this situation. Can put in the carrier, the vehicle number,